But I also know players on that team that are like, oh, hell no, we don't want to just be here.
Did you hear what Sheryl Swoopes said about the Indiana Fever? She claims no one wants to play for them, but is that the real story? Turns out there's a whole lot more going on than Swoopes might realize. The Fever are actually making waves in the WNBA right now. Kelsey Mitchell's back, and other players are lining up to join. It's like they've become the hottest ticket in town. So what's really happening here? Why is Swoopes so off base? Let's break down why the Fever are actually on fire and why everyone's talking about them. Sheryl Swoopes has been vocal about her criticism of Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever throughout this season. She has repeatedly questioned the team's defense.
Defensively, besides Aaliyah Boston, besides Lexi Hull, because I think Kelsey Mitchell's an okay defender. Lexi Hull, like, is a dog on the defensive end.
Yeah.
But besides those two, like, I worry about the defense. Because to your point, come playoffs, you got to be able to guard somebody.
Swoopes believes the team is all offense and no defense. But is that really true? The stats tell a different story. The Fever have been working hard on both ends of the court, and it's starting to show. And with Caitlin Clark coming in, the spotlight on this team is about to get a whole lot brighter.
What I don't see is who is that other guard, right? Because the guard they bring in is Erica Wheeler.
Yep.
Who's the other guard that you can bring in that can defend somebody?
I think that they're the women's version of the Dallas Mavericks. And I see Caitlin being Luka.
I like that.
Kelsey Mitchell being Kyrie.
I like that. Yeah.
You know, they got pieces that are very dangerous, but they haven't decided to play defense individually.
That's not all. She claims there's a lot of drama going on with the Fever, painting a picture of a team in chaos. But when we looked into it, we found something totally unexpected. The truth about the Fever's locker room culture is nothing like what Swoopes is saying. In fact, it's quite the opposite.
It don't look like that.
But here's where it gets interesting. The Fever might actually be the hottest team in the WNBA right now. You're probably wondering, how can that be? Well, Kelsey Mitchell just re-signed with the team, and other players are lining up to join. It's like Swoopes is looking at a completely different team. Now, you might be thinking, why is Swoopes so focused on the Fever? Could it be that she's feeling a little threatened by something? The Fever have been building something special. They've got a supportive environment, a growing fan base, and some serious potential for the future. Players aren't running away from the Fever. They're running towards them.
And it's so funny to me that it's just so rough. There's a lot of shit going on that, and is it only with the Fever that you just so happen to know that people don't want to be in Indiana? What about the other places? Is it just the Indiana Fever? Because Caitlin Clark is there. So what possibly could be going on in a situation where you have all the fans, you're getting paid, you're nationally televised, social media is growing, you got the best fan base, your merchandise is going up, your jersey sales are going up, everything.
Let's start with the bombshell that's got everyone talking. Kelsey Mitchell is back, baby. Mitchell's return is like a giant neon sign screaming, "Hey superstars, Indiana's the place to be." And you know what? The rest of the league is starting to notice.
But if you don't want to be here, hey, we're not forcing you to be here. We want people who want to be here. Natasha Howard, DeWanna Bonner. You know what I'm saying? Cunningham, Colson. We want players who want to be here. Kelsey Mitchell, re-sign. Because you said significant pieces. It couldn't have been Alyssa Smith. It could not have been Alyssa Smith. I know that's not who we're calling significant piece.
That's right. Natasha Howard, the three-time WNBA champion, is suiting up for the Fever now. And let's not forget about Sydney Colson joining the squad. These aren't just random pickups. We're talking about serious talent flocking to Indiana. Now, you might be wondering, what's causing this sudden rush to join the Fever? Well, I've got two words for you. Caitlin Clark. Her impact isn't just on the court, it's changing the entire landscape of the WNBA. Clark's jersey sales are through the roof, and that's got other players thinking, hey, I want a piece of that action. But here's where it gets really interesting. The Fever isn't just attracting players, they're becoming a fan favorite too. We're talking skyrocketing merchandise sales, packed arenas, and a buzz around the team that hasn't been seen in years.
Make this very clear, right? Let's listen to this.
Looking at you, oh no.
And Gil's point is right, and I've been saying it. a lot of people say, when you're going to be an indie, you're going to be making more money. You're going to be having more endorsements. Your contract will be higher. You're going to get treated right. You have the facilities on the way. You're going to get the most exposure in the WNBA, period, hands down, point blank. You're going to be national televised games. You're going to have national televised games.
And you know what's even crazier? This is just the beginning. The Fever's roster is shaping up to be a force to be reckoned with. Other teams are starting to sweat, wondering how they're gonna match up against this Indiana powerhouse. So let's break it down. You've got Mitchell's scoring prowess, Howard's championship experience, Colson's versatility, and the Clark effect drawing in even more talent. Add to that a fan base that's more fired up than ever, and you've got a recipe for something special brewing in Indiana. Alright, you thought Swoopes was done throwing shade. Hold on to your seats, because her take on Aaliyah Boston is about to make your jaw drop.
Shit, but tons, right? They played a lot of games the first half of the season.
Yeah.
And you can see the difference that rest made for this team, for individual players and for the team. But the beginning of the year, you have a player like an Aaliyah Boston, who was Rookie of the Year last year, #1 draft pick, a hell of a player. But because things weren't going the way everybody thought they should, then you got social media coming out calling her everything but a child of God. Made the kid delete her social media. And now that they're winning and she's playing better, oh my God, we love you, Aaliyah.
Remember when Boston was struggling at the start of her rookie season? Well, Swoopes claims the fans turned on her faster than a quick crossover. But here's where it gets really interesting. She says, as soon as Boston started balling out, those same fans were suddenly all, "We love you, Aaliyah." Can you believe Swoopes is trying to paint Fever fans as fair weather supporters?
But my thing is this. So what happens when Aaliyah ain't playing well again?
Now, let's break this down for a sec. Is Swoopes really trying to say that Fever fans are some kind of fickle bunch who can't handle a rookie finding her footing? Come on now. Every player goes through ups and downs, especially in their first season. It's part of the game. And yeah, sometimes fans get frustrated, but that doesn't mean they don't have their players back.
Yeah.
And let me go ahead and say this. She's a professional athlete. LeBron goes through it. Stephen Curry goes through it. Everybody you can think of goes through it. Shohei Ohtani, Aaron Judge, Ronaldo, Messi. Every player you can think of goes through it. From college, high school, all the way to the pros. And if anything, you're making it seem like it's probably not even as bad as some of this NBA stuff. And real.
But here's where Swoopes' argument falls apart faster than a bad zone defense. She's completely ignoring the fact that Boston isn't just any rookie. She's a cornerstone of the Fever's future. The fans know that. They're invested in her success. So when she started to find her groove, of course they were hyped. It's not about being fair weather fans. It's about celebrating a young star coming into her own.
No one's paying attention to them. So all those players on there is fighting for a light, right? Fever has this big, bright light, which means someone like Boston, you wasn't playing well, everyone don't like you, right? When you are playing well, Jesus, open up the red carpet, boom. So she's getting the red carpet treatment when she's playing well, and when she's not,
From
get
who?
the fuck
Who's
out
she
of
getting a red carpet treatment from?
Just
the
social media,
fans.
people, right?
Now you might be thinking, okay, but doesn't criticism come with the territory of being a pro athlete? Absolutely. And that's exactly why Swoopes' take is so off the mark. Boston, like every other player in the league, knows that dealing with pressure is part of the job. It's not about avoiding criticism. It's about how you respond to it.
Was to her jersey, when they loved her jersey's moving like hotcakes. She's getting voted into the All-Star game. So it is a hate and love thing. So as the player, you have to understand that. Either you're gonna have this really high level hate and love, or you can be playing very great and no one notices you. But you can be playing very bad and no one notices you.
Let's look at the facts here. Boston didn't just roll over when things got tough. She put in the work, adapted her game, and started dominating on both ends of the court. That's the kind of mental toughness that separates the good from the great. And Fever fans recognize that growth, cheering her on every step of the way. But here's where it gets really wild. Swoopes is acting like Boston can't handle a little heat from the fans. Are you kidding me? This is a player who led South Carolina to a national championship. She's dealt with pressure on the biggest stages in college basketball. You think a few frustrated tweets are gonna shake her? Please.
And you're over here making a big deal, making it seem like there's a lot of stuff going on. So, are you saying Aaliyah Boston doesn't want to be there? I mean, like, start saying names with your statements, because you're just putting stuff in the air.
The reality is, Boston's journey is exactly what makes sports so exciting. We love seeing young players overcome challenges and reach their potential. It's not about fans flip-flopping. It's about the thrill of watching a star being born right before our eyes.
So if you're not in the locker room, how are you expressing things like this? Goofy. If you're not in the locker room, Sheryl Swoopes, how are you expressing these things?
Talking about more social media.
Okay.
Oh, social media. So you're just going based off social media. So where did it say, I don't want to be here in Indiana? And you're going based off social media. So you're making things up. You're making things up is what you're saying. Like right now, you're pretty much saying there's a lot of shit going on in Indiana. I don't want to be there. Significant pieces. And you're going based off social media. So you're making shit up.
Alright, let's talk about the real reason Sheryl Swoopes is going after the Fever. It's all about one name, Caitlin Clark. And let me tell you, Clark is shaking up the league in unprecedented ways.
The stuff toward her is petty and jealous. And the thing I love about her, she never says a word.
You think I'm exaggerating? Check this out. Clark's jersey sales are breaking records. But it's not just about merch. Clark is changing the game on the court, making veterans like Swoopes take notice.
There was a report that came out from the boardroom saying that since the start of the regular season, sales of WNBA merchandise are up over 500% versus the same period last year, with fan gear sales over the first half of the season at the highest in league history. Player-specific merchandise, including jerseys and t-shirts, have seen a staggering 1,000% increase in sales. Additionally, sales of league-specific merchandise like the popular orange WNBA hoodie are also up 200%. The top-selling WNBA player merch, Caitlin Clark, #1 in jersey sales, Angel Reese 2, Sabrina 3, Kate Martin 4.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Clark isn't just a rookie making a splash. She's a spark igniting a wildfire of talent and excitement across the WNBA. Her style of play, her ability to handle the ball and make plays, it's drawing comparisons to some of the best in the NBA. That's right, we're talking game-changing potential here. Other WNBA stars are watching how Clark's transforming the entire Fever franchise. Can you believe it? The team Swoopes claimed no one wanted to play for is now a hot destination. We're hearing whispers that top talent is actually lining up to play alongside Clark. Talk about a 180, right? But here's the kicker. Clark's influence isn't just about her individual performance. She's reshaping the entire perception of the Indiana Fever. Her impact is being compared to some of the all-time greats who shifted the dynamics of their teams and the league itself. That's the kind of player we're dealing with here.
The Fever did not come to play. They are on a mission to win now, like 2025 championship season incoming. They were so quiet during free agency. And in the past 24 hours, boom, boom, boom. Re-signed Kelsey Mitchell to a max deal. Picked up Natasha Howard, bringing her back to the Indiana Fever, where she was originally drafted. And then they just announced a three-way trade, sending Alyssa Smith to Dallas and Sophie Cunningham coming to the Fever. This team in 24 hours just got exponentially better. Starting five, Caitlin at the 1, Kelsey at the 2, Lexi Hall and Sophie can duke it out for the 3, Natasha Howard at the 4, Aaliyah Boston at the 5.
So why is Swoopes really targeting Clark and the Fever? It's simple. Clark represents a changing of the guard. She's the future of the WNBA, and that future is arriving faster than anyone expected. Swoopes' comments. They're starting to look less like analysis and more like the last gasps of an old guard trying to hold on to relevance. Clark isn't just making waves. She's changing the entire landscape of the WNBA.
But I'm just letting it be known, like, hey, her jersey sales are up because of Caitlin Clark. I'm sure Lexi Hall's jersey sales are up this year. I'm sure Natasha Howard's jersey sales will be up this year. I'm sure DeWanna Bonner, Indiana Fever's jersey sales will be up this year. Cunningham will be skyrocketing.
Now, you might be thinking, is this the start of a WNBA dynasty? Well, let's not get ahead of ourselves. But one thing's for sure, the days of the Fever being an afterthought are over. They're building something big, and players around the league are taking notice. And just wait till you hear how this completely shatters Swoopes' narrative. But we'll get to that in a bit.
You're just lying. So not only were you lying, it all backfired in your face for lying. and now you just look dumb. Just to be honest, like, respectfully, like, it's, you open your mouth, you've lied on Caitlin Clark multiple times, then you come out with a statement like this, which was a lie, which you admitted to saying, well, I'm just going based on social media. You're lying. So that's really all I got, man. And I'm just happy that Kelsey Mitchell did resign.
Let's wrap this up, because the truth about the Fever's rise is more exciting than Swoopes wants you to believe. The Fever aren't just chasing a playoff spot, they're challenging the league's hierarchy. With their new roster, Indiana's eyeing the playoffs like it's their destiny. Can you believe it? The former punching bag is now poised to make serious noise. Making the playoffs would be more than a win, it'd be a transformation. Keep your eyes on Indiana this season. You won't want to miss what happens next as we track every move of this explosive Fever squad ready to set the league on fire.